That is absolutely superb. You got the cheese through there, the leeks, a bit creamy. We got potatoes in there. Oh, I would recommend that to anyone. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we are going to Devonshire. We are going to make the Homity Pie. Now, there's no actual credited person for the Homity Pie, but apparently it came out of necessity. It came out of necessity in the Second World War, and it's accredited to the Land Army Girls, basically the women's volunteers at that time, using their resourcefulness to actually make a pie with the ingredients that were readily available. Now, like I said, there is no one accredited to it as such, but it is known as the Devonshire pie or an open pie. So it's got a couple of names, you know, and I'm sure there'll be other variations. So we're going to make the Homity pie. We have to make some short crust pastry first. In here I've got some flour, and we'll go in there with some salt. Salt to taste, a good pinch of salt. We're not using salt for anything else, so it's going in the pastry. And I've got my fats. I'm using shortening and butter. Pretty warm, but not to worry. And then all we're doing is we're just making some breadcrumbs. Now, as always, I always say, if you have a food processor, whack it in the food processor and do it in seconds. But you know, it only takes 5 minutes to bring the pastry together. So it's just lift, rub, gentle hands. Don't squash the heck out of it. Lift, rub. So that's got our nice light bright breadcrumbs in there, look. 2 minutes work. In here I've got some water. I'm just going to go in there with a splash of apple cider vinegar. Go in there with an egg. Give it a bit of beating. And then in our pastry. Mix up your pastry. Hand in. Bring it together. That's it. Don't need to overwork it. And then what we're going to do is split that into 2 lumps. Now, we're not measuring it, we're just splitting it. And then that is going in cling film in the fridge. So take some cling film, take your pastry, squash it out. Just makes it easier for when we actually want to roll it out. Okay, there's one lot. Let's do another one. 2 lots of pastry in the fridge. We have to peel and get our potatoes onto boil. So we're just going to peel the potatoes just normally, you know, like you would if you've got a potato peeler. Use a potato peeler, and I'm just rushing now, look. Nice and steady. Just peel your potatoes off. Okay, and then we want to be cutting that into reasonable little chunks to cook it in a pan. So just take your pan and chuck your potatoes in. Do it with all your potatoes. Get some water in, and we're going to get that onto the boil. We want to boil those potatoes. Now I'm going to shove this on behind me whilst we crack on with everything else at the front. So we have some leeks, good old-fashioned leeks. So just tidy those up, we don't want that. Come out of there with some of those bad leaves. Now we do want a little bit of green in here because it gives it a little bit of colour. If not, it's not much colour in here at all. So we've got some spinach as well to give it a little bit more green. Now I'm using all leeks, but you can actually use leeks and onion. Slice up some onion and get that in there, you know. Now with the leeks, you just want to be slicing them through, you know. Nice and steady. So we've got a bundle there, look. Now we're going to pan fry these in butter. So just make them manageable. And we'll just come up there a little bit onto that green. Okay, for this one we want to be going in there with some butter. Don't be shy. Get your flame on. Get your butter melting down. And then we're going in there with those leeks. Get your leeks in. And then we're going to put a little bit of pepper in with that. Now I'm not using salt. I'm not using salt because the cheese is quite salty. So in there, a little bit of black pepper. Up to you how much you use, but it's the only way you're going to get the flavour in the pie. Pinch of dried thyme. If you have fresh thyme, use fresh thyme. So we're just sauteing these off. We want to cook these down about 70% actually. So soften them up proper in there, you know. Now for this recipe I'm going to be using an 8-inch springform cake tin. Okay, when you've got your leeks softened up, now this is a couple handfuls of fresh spinach. Now you can run a knife over it or you can just rip it and chuck it in. It don't matter, it's still going to cook in there. Whiz it through there, wilt it down. Just a quick 2 minutes on that spinach, that's all. Just get it wilted down in there. You know, this makes this dish a pretty healthy dish. You know, it's really good for you, you know, even though it's got all the cheese in. We're going to bob a little bit of cream in. That is our spinach and leeks done. Flame off, that's it. Now we want to be chucking that contents in there. Now you could do it all in the pan, but you know my potatoes are still cooking, so we might as well just get that in there. Okay, in here is a little bit of corn flour. Now you don't have to use corn flour, you can just use the cream, but I'm going to put the cream in with the corn flour and we're going to give it a mix through. We're going in there with our potatoes. I've drained the potatoes and I just put them back on the flame just to dry off the moisture. That is our potatoes. Now take a fork and just give a couple a mashing. Don't go bananas and mash everything. We want some chunks of potato actually in our Homity Pie. And that's it. Just give it a mix through. Just give it half a minute or so to let it cool down a little bit. And then we're going to chuck our cream in there and give it all a good mixing up. So whilst that's cooling a little minute, we'll get on with our pastry. So we want one of our pastry discs out of the fridge. Now they've obviously, this has only been in about 10 minutes, so it's a bit soft. Flour. Flour your pin. And then roll. Okay, like I say, we're using one of these 8-inch springform tins, and we've got to get that in there. So that's in there, nice and steady. Now you can trim it all off if you so wish. We're only going to take a little bit off and then let it have the overhang over the top, and then we'll trim it round when the pie comes out. Okay, there's our pie done, just put to one side. Let's get on with our mix. Okay, there's our pie mix in there. That's our potatoes, our leeks, our spinach. Still a bit warm, look. And we've got some cheese. I've got 2 lots of cheddar cheese in here. I've got one which is just cheddar cheese. I basically call it just cheddar cheese. And it melts away. So we're going to go in there with a good couple of handfuls. Now I'm not weighing out how much cheese it is. It's entirely up to you what you want to put in. And we're going to go in there with some really sharp cheddar. It's matured for a minimum of 2 years. It's got a really sharp flavour. It's delicious. And then we're just going to tip that cream in there. We're going to give that a mix in. That looks absolutely tremendous. Now I'm using the high sapientia air fryer oven. You use any oven. We want a temperature of about 180. We're going to do 170. We're going to preheat the oven and then we're going to bang the pie in there. Okay, our pie. And we'll put it on a tray and we'll fill it. So we are just going to fill that pie with our contents. Get it in there, all the way in. Now that looks absolutely tremendous. Should have bob a little bit of that on there actually. Now I'm hoping it's not going to be too greasy. Okay, oven's warm enough, let's get that pie in there. Okay, we're going to cook it about 170 for about 30 minutes. Let it do its thing. Okay, there we go. Let's get that Homity Pie out of there. Oh, sensational. Nothing else to be said about that really. That is absolutely fantastic. Just look at that. That looks delicious. Right, what we're going to do when that finishes, we're just going to trim off the top of the pastry. Just trim it off into the tray. Just tidy up your pie. Nice and steady. Just make it look a bit more presentable. Now you could go for the complete rustic look and leave it on if you so wish. That's up to you. But when that comes out of that tin, that is going to look awesome. So I'll let it cool down a bit. Don't worry about the mess. We're going to chuck that in the bin and then we'll take the pie out. We've got to let it settle for about 8 minutes or something like that. Around about 10 minutes. Let it settle down. It's absolutely boiling in there. And then we're going to take a slice. Okay, here's our Homity Pie. It's still a bit warm, but we're going to take off this springform tin. See if we can get that over there. Just look at that. That is fantastic. Right, it's a bit hot, but we're going to whip that off there. Now that looks absolutely flipping amazing. Look at that lovely pastry round there. So all we're going to do now is get in and give it a slice. Now it is a pie and it will be quite loose because it's full of leek and cheese. So we'll try our best to get some out. Oh, the pastry is amazing. I do think this is going to splurge all over because it's cheese and leek. But we'll have a go. Oh, look in there. That looks incredible. The smell of the leeks and the cheese. Oh, we just got to get in there and give it a go. Oh, oh, here we go. That is one heck of a pie. That is absolutely superb. You got the cheese through there, the leeks, a bit creamy. We got potatoes in there. Oh, I would recommend that to anyone. So that's Devon pie, or open vegetable pie, or Homity Pie made. That is fantastic. So there we are, Homity Pie made. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe, share with your friends, all that kind of stuff. Catch you in the next video.